Welcome to my Hebrew channel, Miel, and we're looking at the word ha'isha, or leisha, and eshet, and ish. Ish, of course, is the singular masculine form of the man, a man, and then ha'isha is the woman, and so male and female. And what interests us a little bit more this time around are the eshet, that is the construct form, the woman of, or the woman belonging to, and hanashim. This is the plural form of the women. Okay, we've seen the women at the start of the study, and we're seeing at the end here. And this is kind of saying the public voice over there by the gate, city gate. So hanashim, the women who are willing to share a lot of information. So let's get into our study. It's very interesting. This particular word appears approximately 1,400 times in the Hebrew scriptures, so it's worth our while to look at it. It's a word that's used a lot, often in a very simple way, very understandable way. Just remember, it means a man or the woman, a woman or the woman or the man, but it can also mean each one. So in English, it's a little bit easier to remember because ish is each, also very similar sound of what it is. So it's when it's an indefinite form, it often is just each person. So here we go. ויאמר בועז ביום כנותך השדה מיד נעמי ומת רות המביאה אשת המת קנתה להקים שם המת על נחלתו. Here we see the construct form, the woman of, the wife of, the widow. Okay, here we put the extra word widow here. This person has the dead person here met the dead person. This person has died, and so that makes that person a widow. Like I said, construct forms are used in to define people, who you are and what you are. This defines her as a widow. It's one way of saying the widow. If you're a woman of a dead person, you're a widow. Also, take a quick look at it's in the construct form. It's kept its Miel accenting. It's a segolate right here. The segol is right here, and segols in the second syllable of a word will generate usually a Miel. That is an accent towards the upper end here. We have that here. This is a metech. Generally, we don't think of a metech as an accent, but here it is pushing the accenting towards the front of this word. So, Eshet Hamet, okay, widow of the dead person, the woman of the dead person, which makes that person a widow. There is one Korean here that's written out as a Korean. I looked it up in the manuscripts. It simply drops the yod off the end here, so it converts this particular noun from a first person to a second person with the commas. So, kanata, you will buy. It isn't that I would buy. So he's at this point, Boaz is talking to the other Goel, and he's telling him, you're going to have to buy this. If you're going to buy the land, you also have to take in the relationship of getting married to Ruth, so that you can raise up, you can perpetuate. The literal word here is hakim, to raise up. It's translated as perpetuate, but to raise up the name of the dead person. Same thing here, Hamet and Hamet. Okay, this person has died. If there's no descendants, then the name goes. But if there's somebody descending, then of course the name remains. Zot lefanim בישראל על הגאולה ועל תמורה להקם lekayem. Wow, that's a tongue twister here. Lekayem כל דבר שלף איש נעלו ונתן לרעהו, וזאת התעודה בישראל. And here we have ish, and so this is each person, each one, the one. Okay, here it is. So this in the translation comes out as the one, ish. So each person, this is how to set the matter. Shalaf, to pull off, to pull away. Same root that's also used to pulling out the stalks of grain in the second chapter. So this is one of the repeated word we've seen previously. Shalaf Ish Nachala, his sandal, Venatan Le'reu Vezot Ta'uda B'Israel. So he gives it to his neighbor. And that's each person involved in a transaction does this with his sandal. Gam et Ruth Hamovia Eshet Malon Kanati Li Le Isha Le Hakim Shem Hamet Al Nahalato Ve Lo Yekret Shem Hamet Me'im Achiv Ve U Meshar Makomo Edim Atem Hayom. And also Ruth, the Moabite, woman of, widow of, wife Eshet Ma'alon. That's the wife or the woman of Ma'alon. Ma'alon's here identified. Incidentally, Ma'alon's not identified. We don't know from the first chapter whether it's Ma'alon or Kilion. Here we do find out it's Ma'alon. Okay, Ma'alon's the one that had been married to Ruth. He had died, and now his name has to be raised up again among the people. So we have Eshet. That's Eshet. That's a construct form. Like I said, the previous one was Eshet Hamet, woman of or wife of the dead person as the widow, and here it's the wife of Ma'alon, defining who it is. Constructs are used to define people, or persons or things. So Ma'alon, Kanati, Li, Leisha, to be a wife, to be a woman, to be a wife, in order to raise up the name of the dead on his inheritance, and not will be cut off or cut away the name of the dead. Again, same thing, they repeated this particular phrase right here. Ma'im, from among his brothers, and from the gate of the place where he is, and you are testimony, you are witnesses in this day, you are in this day. Again, Eshet defining someone. ויאמרו כל העם אשר בשער הזקנים עדים ייתן יהוה את האישה הבאה על ביתך כי רחל כי לאח אשר בנו שתיהם את בית ישראל ועשה העיל באפרתה וקרא שם בבית לחם. And then they said, all the people said, which are in the gates, and the elders, we are witnesses. May the Lord give to the woman, with the woman. This is a direct object marker, and it's a nice thing to see that a direct object marker doesn't really not alter the formation of the next word. It's still the normal article, still normal hey with the comments, and then attached onto the front, the woman. So that woman or the woman makes it definite. And when there's an article like this, you know we're talking about somebody that's known. And in this case, this known woman is Ruth. ויקח בועז את רות ותהי לו לאישה ויבוא אליך ויתן יהוה לך יהריון ותלד בן. See, this is here, it's a segolate, so the accent got pushed forward to the Miel. Surprise, surprise, even in verbs it works this way. Oh, in verbs especially it works that way. So, teled ben, and she then gave birth to a son. Leisha, this is Leish for to be his wife, okay, to be his wife. And so this, again, the preposition here gives a relationship of purpose as to what happens to her at this place. So, Leisha, to be a wife, to be his wife. ותאמרנה הנשים אל נעמי ברוך יהוה אשר לא השבית לך Goel Hayom V'Yekre Shemo B'Yisrael. And this is then the plural form of women. And I said in the previous study, we repeated a little bit here, the Ish Issah loses it's a masculine ending. It's a shortened ending. It begins off with a nun, which we don't see in the singular form of it. We do see it in the plural form, and we see something similar also on the masculine form. Although there it's up to this one's. Its root will be only 2 syllables. In the masculine, the root will have 3 syllables. So here's nashim, the women. Then the women said to Vatomarna Hanashim. This is a feminine ending, but this is still a feminine ending, though, even though it has looks like a masculine ending, but it is the feminine ending of this particular word here, the women. And here's a little chart of what we're dealing with. And as I said, this word appears something like 1,400 times in the Bible. And ish is a very simplified male masculine singular form of it. Ish, a man, or each one, ish. Article, just ha-ish. No change out in the pointing of what comes behind it, which is a nice thing. Just simply put out an article. Same thing also here with the preposition. And whether it be an indefinite preposition, in other words, lech ish, for a woman, or for a man, or for the man, okay, or for the man, la ish. And anashim then is a plural. It's irregular in that if you see on the singulars, there was no nun at all, and there was a yod. But when you bump it up to a plural here, the yod is dropped out, and the nun is attached to the front of it, and also along with the nun is taking the place of the yod. Okay, so here it is, anashim, 3 syllables. It goes from a single syllable to 3 syllables, anashim. Putting an article on the front of it, simply just tacking on the front with no vowel changing in it, ha anashim, the men. And then the construct form, you just simply take the base root here, the plural, drop the mem, and you have anshe, anshe. Or the accenting will be Miel Ra here, and so anshe. And then when you have anshe, it will be anshe yuricho, anshe of a place or a town or a city or a country or whatever. Again, as I said, anytime you have a construct form, the second word or the second or third word of what comes behind it is what defines who and what these people are. So anshe, and then so the people of, the men of. Feminine form here is isha. And then this is a very normal way of making words into feminine, just adding on the hey. Sometimes the tau is used, but often the hey is used for changing the gender of a word. It's irregular in that even though the masculine has a whole set of yods, the feminine does not. Okay, so we're just doing just the isha, ha-isha. Putting an article on does not change much of the vowel pointing of what follows. And then le-isha, la-isha, very same thing as we have here. Prepositions tacked to the front are simply added to the front. Very simple. Very nice to see how that's fairly simple to do. The plural is, of course, irregular in that you have you've actually lost the aleph. I'll go on. You still have the sheen. The hey has been replaced by hirik yod mem, which is nominally a masculine ending, but it's used for a feminine here. And you're down to 2 syllables, nashim, and hanashim has the article. And very fortunately, the article does add on, because it's a nun, it adds on a very normal fashion of a patah with the dagish in the following syllable. So hanashim, neshe, this is the construct form in plural. And nashav, this is the construct form with just a pronoun suffix to the end of this particular construct form. Construct forms are used when you want to attach to suffix pronouns. So that's what you have here. Construct forms. This is a singular construct, eshet, and you'll notice it is very much a Miel with the accenting towards the front, and that's a segolate. An ishti, then an ishti and ishto, woman, my woman, and his woman. Construct again, which is used for having a position or place for adding on suffix pronouns. That's what happens here. Ishti, ishto, eshet, ha'ish. This is the woman of the man, a woman of the man. So the construct here, tacked together with a makef, and maintains the milel accenting of this particular word via the metech right here. So you got makef, metech, and then an article on the front of ish. So the woman of the man. I put ish in here because if you're wondering, you see these are all construct forms. Construct form of ish is simply ish. There's no change out in the formation of the construct. You just simply have to see the sequence then at that point to understand that it's a construct because it's used in a construct way. Once it's used in a construct way, then you say, oh, that's a construct, even though there's nothing obvious about. It does happen to a few of the Hebrew words to be a construct, even though it doesn't look like a construct. It still is working as a construct. So it brings us, in conclusion, to what we have in our in the entire book. It's one of the things that defines where the whole book of Ruth goes. We're dealing with Boaz, who is an Ish Gibor Hayil, a man of energy, power, strength, and worthiness. Hayil here is the man who does the right thing, the man who's strong enough to do the right thing. So that's an Ish Gibor Hayil. And as we live out our lives before the Lord, I sincerely hope that all of us who can imitate this or can take it to heart, that our lives are valuable when we live Ish Gibor Hayil. We live a worthy life, a life of obedience to our Lord. And then the feminine sense of that is Eshet Hayil, and that is a woman of worth, a woman of honor, a woman who does the right thing. And want a definition of it? Just simply do a close study of Proverbs 31, verse 10 to the end. And there it's a great definition of what an Eshet Hayil is. In both cases, the definition of who you are, what you are, and in both of these cases, it's defined on the relationship these people, that is Boaz and Ruth, had with Jehovah. And that's also very true for us. When we seek to serve the Lord, when we are obedient to His will, study His word, and apply it to our lives, we become Ish Gibor Hayil or Eshet Hayil. This is what we understand our lives to how we will define our lives. How do we define our lives? We define our lives as lives of obedience to our Lord, and our Lord has given us salvation in Jesus Christ, and we must certainly live in obedience to that. And so makes our life worth living when we live a life of hayil, worthiness, obedience to God. Live that life and do it, and the Lord will provide, and the Lord will strengthen you in that effort. So may God bless, may God strengthen you, and may God make you a person of hayil.